Hey, Justin here from Mystery Tackle Box. Today I want to share with you my top 5 topwater baits for getting blowups on and the situations that work best for getting those blowups. Number 1 is just a Plop style bait. This bait's been around a long time. It's very simple and it works in calm conditions. When you get in those backs of the creeks and the pockets, especially during the spawn and right after the spawn, that Plop bait really tends to work well around those shallow grass areas in just very calm conditions. I like to just throw it out there and then let it sit for long pauses. That's where it excels. Get it next to a piece of cover that looks really good, pop it a few times, and then just let it sit there for 4 or 5 seconds. And that's almost always when you get your bites on that. You know, the second and the third are a whopper plopper and a buzzbait. They kind of go along with that same formula. They get massive blowups. And the thing that's great about this, you can fish it in really calm water, but you can also fish it around just a light chop. And I like the buzzbait for fishing in around shallow grass where I can reel it right over the top. The whopper plopper has those treble hooks, so you can't necessarily reel it right through the grass. But I use those two in unison in the same types of situations. They have the same kind of sound. That whopper plopper has more of the shad profile. The buzzbait just has that really loud, annoying sound. And they both are great for getting those big blowups around shallow grass. You can even fish them in open water, but you can't really fish them in super choppy water. Number 4 is a walking style bait. I've actually caught my biggest bass ever on this, and this is a versatile bait, but I tend to fish it more in open water situations and a little bit of a chop. When there's a little bit of a chop on the water, you can't get that buzzbait to work quite right, or the Plop. That's when that walking bait really tends to excel. And you can also fish it in deep water. I love to fish this in deep, clear water. It'll bring bass up from a long ways because it's louder than the Plop, and it just seems to attract those big bass. My biggest bass ever was chasing a gizzard shad out in like 20 feet of water, just out in the open. Fired that out there and just giving that walk. They just can't resist it. Just came up and smashed it. So that's my biggest blow up ever, that walk the dog style bait. Now, number 5 is the frog. The frog is a very versatile bait. You can fish it in calm water. You can fish it in the heaviest of cover though. That is the key with that frog, where you can't get the Plop and the whopper plopper and the buzzbait and the walking bait. You can throw the frog in the nastiest of stuff, and that's what makes it so key. It doesn't have the action like the other baits. It doesn't have the noise and the attention bringing, but that can almost be a really good thing in that calm water when the bass are a little bit spooky. So the frog, you throw it in the nastiest of stuff. You throw it on heavy gear with braid, and it gets those big bites. You can skip it, you can walk it, you can bob it. There's so many things you can do with a frog, and it's just known for getting those big bass blowups. For all these baits, I'll tell you this, anytime that you see topwater activity, get a topwater on. When you hear bluegill up in the shallows feeding on little bugs, if you see shad flicking at the top of the water, if you see boils on top of the water, and of course, obviously, if you see a bass come up and hit the top of the water and try to eat something, you better make sure to get a topwater on. That's all we have for you here on Topwater Tips today. And if you want to check out more tips and tricks, subscribe right here to the Mystery Tackle Box channel. If you want to get boxes sent to your doorstep filled with topwater goodness, possibly, you go to mysterytacklebox.com, you can sign up. You can get started as low as $15 a month. Thanks for visiting. We'll see you on the next video.